This is the John Brown Alliance, recording this for future generations. I can honestly say that after the 2024 election, that was gerrymandered beyond belief, and nobody believed that Donald Trump won. The entire country stood still and waited, lazy, waiting for some savior to come forth. In the meantime, the rest of us who are serious about our future immediately started organizing. One of those organizations was the John Brown Alliance. The other was one called Red, Brown, Black, and Proud. But I digress. We got our heads together, along with political leaders in some of our states, and we decided that we needed to put the word out there that there needed to be some kind of opposition, some kind of people in the street. Now, many people, including me, don't think peaceful protests are effective right now. But everything starts with baby steps. So we chose President's Day. And we put flyers out, and we put stuff out on the internet. And a little ragtag army of people showed up on President's Day in Washington, D.C. It was cold outside. Those people had no resources. And they probably had no food. I don't know. But all of the people, almost exclusively, that showed up were white. After black people didn't vote for Kamala Harris because they were tired of Sleepy Joe. But that's a story for another day, about how their ancestors died for the right to vote. But they chose to sit this one out. At any rate, we're in Washington, D.C., and I witnessed this firsthand because I have been an activist for 20 plus years. So I needed to see for myself how dedicated people were to saving this democracy. So I go to the protest. I see a small gathering of white people. And nobody's saying anything. Why? Because the organizers were not there, including myself. One man gets tired of walking up and down the streets of Washington, D.C., climbs on the back of a truck with a megaphone, and starts talking, and starts chanting, and starts challenging the system. That man was a comedian. And I have that shit on tape. The reason I'm not going to play the clip is because if you really think you're part of a resistance, you need to find it. Cliff Cash, a comedian, stood on the back of the truck and he provoked rally after rally after rally in Washington, D.C. Now all of a sudden you have all these No Kings marches, and you have all these organizations that Rachel Maddow endorses claiming that they are, organizing this movement. A big swath of people do not subscribe to that type of organization in 2025. When one man stood on the back of a truck in Washington, D.C. on one of the coldest days of the year and started this. Now that it's warm outside, everybody wants to come out. They want to do this and do that and say you need to organize under this umbrella or that. Some of us don't need to wait till October 18th. Some of us will do what Cliff Cash did on President's Day. By the time you have these No Kings marches, any avenue that we had to stop this madness will have passed. So you go ahead and you make that date, October 18th. But by that time, the die has been cast and you're done, son. You know why? Because you don't know Washington. And you don't know when the fiscal year starts. It starts on October 1st. So if you want to shut down the government, if you want to stop this shit, you have to do it right now, not on October 18th. I would think that Rachel Maddow would know this. I would think that MSNBC would know this. But instead, we go along to get along. Well, some of us aren't here to go along with anything. We stand alone. Just like that comedian on President's Day. This is who we are. This is not what we do temporarily. This is not what we do to get clickbait. We put our ass in the middle of the street. And we don't do peaceful protests. We protest until we are attacked. And at some point, we have to decide when enough is enough and take responsibility for our personal security and the security of those around us. Personally, I'm not going to sit around and watch 5 guys do another George Floyd. I would hope that 1,000 people wouldn't film my death, but stop me from becoming the next George Floyd. That's what we're about. Not about organizations. Not about the next march scheduled. We do our shit when it needs to be done. Period. And that one man standing on the back of that pickup did it when it needed to be done. Now, I don't agree with everybody he associates with as far as movements are concerned. But courage is a superpower. And bravery comes once in a lifetime. So this is for you, Cliff Cash. You did earn that respect, and we owe it to you. And no one should take that credit away from you for that first protest. This is the John Brown Alliance. If you see something wrong, do something right.